wipe the smile off your face!
That was a teacher in our old school.
What school did you go to?
BRA.
It's now called Trinity, but
Oh, yeah. That's not too far away from BRA.
yeah. So I wanted to go to BRA, and then I didn't get in, and then my parents sent me to Trinity, and acted like I was going to jail.
Just because, like
they were giving me a compass, and I was like, "Is this to shank someone with?" Or my mum was like, "No, it's to draw a circle, you prick." Like,
I thought you meant like an actual like north, south, east, west compass or something.
no,
Like Jack Sparrow walking about.
no, it had got a reputation sort of as being like I'm more on the up school like than it was, but it still wasn't a barrel of laughs either. Like,
I had an instance on what day was it? I worked for Key Radio.
Yeah.
As like a events team, and I was getting the bus home from that on Thursday, and just a bunch of St. Malachy's kids got on the bus, started throwing food at me.
Yeah, they're nightmare. Like,
it was brutal. It was so disappointing. I was gonna email them and everything.
They're the worst. Like, a lot of mates went to St. Malachy's, but I remember like they held the guy on the bus, like just some old guy, and wouldn't let him get off until his stop was like way on
It's
up.
ridiculous.
And I'm like, well, you should be bastards. Like, that was the school my dad went to, and my dad really wanted me to go to St. Malachy's, and I was kind of like, fuck that. I'm not.
Yeah.
I remember the open nights there is just the worst, and I specifically have like bad memories of like in first year, my 12th birthday, we could go to a disco, and I went down with a guy from my year in school, and she just went, the head of first year there, he went, "You aren't St. Malachy's boys, you're not allowed in." And I was like, "What?" And I was like I hardly, you don't look at me and be like, he's going to start ripping the walls off the place, like, and they were like, no, you're not allowed in and stuff, and she was like, just like St. Malachy's boys and Fort William girls only. And I went, is this some sort of eugenics breeding program, like, of like trying to get
the Fort William girls were allowed in?
Yeah. And then I think my ma went fuming and rang them and all, and like my ma's like very Catholic, very sort of like
Catholic ma.
Yeah, and she went through them like, and got in, and then my ma hated her that for the first year, and then my brother went to St. Malachy's, and she ended up being very good with my brother that first year, so it was kind of like a bit of a role reverse.
I did my last year in school. I had a year in St. Malachy's, like not the whole time, but like my classes overlapped, so I did moving image arts in St. Malachy's.
Oh, nice,
and
yeah.
then stuff in BRA.
Yeah, my brother done moving image.
Like the black sheep, like walking in the BRA uniform, and everyone's staring at you. Wrong school, mate. All that stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, lads.
I don't know.
Funny every time.
I done sociology for a year in Fort William, and then I left. It was like got told not to come back in Norsec, just basically because of my exams, and then, which in Trinity is bad, like.
Yeah. Welcome back to the Dolecast. We joined this week by Ciaran Franco, and we're in episode 98 of the podcast, so we're 2 off the big 100.
Could you not give me 100?
I know.
Yeah.
I was actually talking to the boys last night. This is quite embarrassing. I've got back into Fortnite recently, right? Play Fortnite? Not currently, but like in your lifetime.
It's something I never got on. I just could never get into it. Like, I was sort of just after I'd stopped playing PlayStation and stuff.
Yeah, I haven't played Fortnite for years, since like the lockdown days, and then Aaron, who's meant to be here today but cancelled, is texting me, was like, "Lad, get back on this. It's serious." And boys have been on non-stop getting the victory royales. So last night we were talking about plans for the 100th episode, and I've given Aaron a budget of like 50 quid. I'm like, you get something sorted.
Well, like a Fortnite gun or something? Or like
no, like for the 100th episode, like you sort something.
You get the creator of Fortnite, or a Fortnite birthday cake or something.
Yeah. So yeah, welcome to the Dolecast.
Pleasure to have. Cheers for having me on. Like, it's very nice wee studio you've got here and stuff.
Yeah, this is the first time I've ever used this one for the Dolecast.
Are you final year in uni or
first?
First
We're
year?
going into the second. Yeah.
So what year did you leave school then?
Last year.
Serious?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm 19.
You're starting stand up at a good age then as well.
Yeah. So I wanted to start stand up when the second I turned 18. I was like 15. I was like, literally the second I turned 18, I'm heading straight there. 18 came and went, and I was like, nah. I think it was more just like being in school. I was like, it'd be cool to do stand up while you're in school, but I was like, I just never, school the next morning and everything.
It's definitely something I really regret is not doing it when I was like 20, when I really wanted to.
When did you start?
I started at 23, but like.
What did you know?
26. So
right, okay.
I started at 23, and I was like, it was something that I always really wanted to do, and all my life, never really got the sort of courage to do it. Would sign up to open mics when I lived in Newcastle, and then just checking out of them, like, I can't do this at all. And then looking back, I'm like, I should have gone earlier, but also I was quite a snarky wee around that stage, and a bit arrogant, and a bit more sort of snappier with people. So I probably wouldn't have if I had started, then I would
Yeah,
have
yeah,
I wouldn't
yeah.
have got on well. And I kind of took COVID to relax me and sort of make me take a step back and be like, chill out, lad.
Yeah.
Or else I would have been a very annoying wee comedian
Yeah.
who thinks he's Bill Burr.
I had Aaron Butler on the podcast last January, and I had said to him, I was like, gonna go for it as soon as I turn 18 here. And he was like, yeah, I mean, go for it. Like, message Luke and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, no worries. And then had him on for another thing in December. And he's like, start stand-up yet? I was like, no, still haven't done it. And he's like, yeah, I knew you wouldn't. Because it's such a, I don't know how you felt doing it, but like, such a big leap to like actually be like, doing my first 5 here. Like 5 minutes is not a long time, but like it's
See, I'm
enough when you're up there.
Oh yeah, no, it feels like, especially when you start, like, because I got to do like 5 minutes yesterday in Pug Uglies,
Oh yeah.
and it was like so much fun, like great club, like like it's class, it's back, and it's like that 5 minutes flew by, but it was like when I started, 5 minutes was like, F me, how am I gonna talk for 5 minutes here? And it's like, because my first gig was, I think I basically lockdown had finished, and I'd met Ronan Linsky, who's one of my best friends on the scene. He's like an incredible comedian, and me and him done like an improv class, and I sort of spoke to him and said, listen, I really want to start stand up. The only reason I'm doing this improv class is because stand up hadn't started back yet from the pandemic.
Yeah.
So I went, I just need to do something, and he was like, let me help you out here, and then he put me in touch with Luke, and Luke was like, listen, there's that many people who want to do it, I'm going to do a competition to get for you all. And then so that was my first ever gig, was like a competition.
Oh, right,
basically.
okay.
Yeah.
What was that like?
I won, but so.
Did you? Oh, right. Did Pav?
Yeah, so it was
Yeah.
like me versus I think 7 others, and then me and another guy won, but he stopped doing it, and then that was basically sort of from then I was hooked. Like, it was all I could talk about. I remember I was meant to go on a date with someone, and I remember like we'd been texting the week before, and all I talked about the week before the date was like stand up.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty she cancelled, and I guarantee that's why, because all I
Yeah,
could talk about
yeah,
was stand up.
yeah, yeah.
It just dominated my life. And
Yeah.
even like when I was away there, it dominated all my thinking. Like,
Do you do any? Not that like I'm sure the clubs were popping off in Vietnam, like, but
I got offered, but I was just kind of like, my last gig before leaving here was so much fun that I was like, that's enough to carry me through.
yeah,
And I don't do a gig in Vietnam and then end up hitting it, because I don't want in Las Vegas at my uncle's wedding.
right.
I left the rehearsal dinner to go to get a $40 taxi across Vegas to do a club. It was fun, but at the same time, I was like, if that had gone bad, I would have ruined my holiday. Like,
yeah.
and then because I remember I was meant to do one in Barcelona, and I was kind of like, I'm so hungover here, I can't do this. Like,
Yeah.
so, but like, I want to do a holiday solely based around stand up
Yeah, like a holiday purely for just like
gigging. Yeah,
gigging. That'd be class.
because I done a day in Edinburgh last year, but it wasn't particularly.
Have you been to the Fringe or anything?
It was for the BBC New Comedy Awards. They were like,
yeah.
you need to come over, so I was able to do 2 other shows, so I done 3 gigs. The BBC one went well, the other 2 I died, and it was just like, I came away from it sort of having a bit of a meltdown on the phone to other comics, like, am I shit?
I have a good story about the BBC New Comedy Awards. When I was like 15,
Yeah.
I saw it go up, post went up, and I was like, it was like a sketch or stand up,
Yeah.
and like the way it was kind of worded in the post, it was like just like it's almost like a self tape, like an audition.
Yeah.
So like I set the tripod up in the bedroom, like 15, set the microphone up, and just told jokes to like thin air.
And did you
Like-
get a reply?
No.
Oh.
It's just I said,
do you have to be 18 as well? But
I
then
have no idea.
Yeah.
I just sent it off, but like I was literally telling jokes, and then just standing there for like 5 seconds, and then going again, and then edited it. Was like, this is great. I remember saying to Aaron, like we were driving along, I was like, mate, this could be it. Like we could end up in
the big time, like, yeah.
And never heard anything back. So shout out BBC New Comedy Award. But then I was like, then William had entered it that year.
Oh, that was the year he
Established
got.
comedian.
Yeah.
I think that was the barely noticeable thing.
Yeah,
Might
that's
have been that year.
because that's it is like. It's called BBC New Comedy Award, but there are a lot of sort of like, I mean, I've entered it again this year, or
Yeah,
sent the
yeah.
application off, but I'm like, I'm going 3 years now, and that's not
Yeah.
a new comedian. Like,
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, 15-year-old me, just rock up,
yeah.
take the belt.
My stomach's rumbling like mad.
No, I can't do it, don't worry.
sorry, yeah. No, you know, because I BBC New Comedy Awards was like, I was away on holiday and I couldn't get out of the holiday, and I was like, right, well, I messaged them and they were like, you can come do the last sort of showcase in Edinburgh during the Fringe, and it was like in a uni lecture hall, like a small lecture hall. It was really tight. If you wanted to go to the toilet, you just had to basically cross someone while they're performing, so you sort of had to time it really well.
Yeah.
and like everyone went over their time. It was it was a good gig.
Yeah.
While when I done the other 2 gigs that night, I just they didn't get. I was really nervous of speaking too fast. They didn't get the sort of Northern Irish based humor. It just really wasn't, and I came away from it being like, I'm fucking shit. I'm such a bad comedian, and I needed I rang my friend Brona and was like I'm terrible and all, and like had to get a bit of reassurance and stuff. But it was just.
Have you ever had like a proper? Was that like a proper stinker where you're like, this is what am I doing this for?
Yeah, there's a gig in Dublin. I'll name them. There's a gig in Dublin called Stitches where I went down when I just started, and Dublin's very international. Very sort of a lot of people. I'm a tourist in Dublin. I'll go watch a comedy show. Irish are funny, and I went down and I just started, and I'd done my first headline spot the night before in the green room in Oma, and I was kind of like, this will be easy. Went down, opened with like a joke about not 9/11, sorry, about Pearl Harbor. And I mean, like,
Summer.
it's been been nearly it's 80 years here next year. Like,
Right, okay.
no, it's not even. It was 80 years
Before
in 1941. So like So like
it was
it's well over 80 years old. And I went like, oh, America deserved Pearl Harbor, some bit, and it just got ooze. And then I've never felt an audience hate me as much in my life. And like there was like a couple in the front row just sat arms folded, and the room was really lit up. But also, like, have you seen Baby Reindeer?
Yeah.
It kind of
Mad,
felt,
by the way.
yeah.
Mental.
It felt like that. Like that's the only. Cause I think it really exaggerates how mean the audience are. They're never that mean.
Yeah.
But that's the closest I felt to feeling like I was in Baby Reindeer, where I was like standing there going like
Breakdown's coming.
Yeah. And then I went off stage, and I remember the Dublin comedians were friendly enough with me before I went on. They were like sort of just having the crack, sort of just a bit of chat. I genuinely do bad with nerves, like, and I don't really speak in green rooms, sort of due to nerves and and I was kind of sitting there, and like I remember like I didn't even get looked at when I came back in. I was kind of like, hi, how was that? And I just got like heads down at me, and I was like, it must have been as bad as it looked in. And I remember like I went over to the guy who'd booked the gig to be like, thank you very much. I went to shake his hand, and he gave me like a handshake, like a.
And then like, buddy, that was.
Yeah, and I just went home and was like, this is. What the fuck am I doing in my life? Like, and I had an okay one, the Thursday after, so that was a Monday, and I had an okay one on Thursday. But even the feeling of an okay one felt like it felt like I was back in form because it was that bad.
That's mad. Like so, and that was down in Dublin. Yeah,
but there's like ones in the north that like are that bad that like you don't even have really I'm trying to think what the one would be. Like there was one we done, me, Sean McAlevey, Sean Haggerty, and a few others done. There were 10 of us, and the guy said, "You all have to do 15 minutes." And
it's a long time.
That's a long. And it was in a Gaelic club in Armagh, and like the minute the gig started, there was no.
It's like 3 hours of comedy.
Yeah, and there's no 2 hours is perfect. There was no lights, like it was a fully bright room. The Shining was playing for the speakers because they hadn't got it connected. So I was on stage. Yeah, so I was on stage, and you could just hear "Here's Johnny" from the speakers as well. So we were competing with the TV.
Right, okay.
No one there really wanted to watch it, and I just sometimes you have to accept that it's just going to be a shit show, and there's nothing you can do about it.
To turn up and do it and go. Like, you just have to.
Yeah, so I accepted that. Now you know what it is. Let's just try and have some fun with this.
Yeah,
and I think. I've realised now that some gigs are just going to be bad gigs, and you just try and have your fun with them. While like I think there was times where I sort of was guilty of perhaps showing up, and then the gig I'm like, oh, this is going to be a bad gig, and then I give up before I even get on stage. Yeah. And what I've learned is just if you realise it's going to be a bad gig, just try and have as much fun with it as possible. Then instead of getting up and just trying to do your set normally and just down on your hole and making yourself feel bad.
That's so weird. Shining playing to the speakers and everything.
It's fucking weird. Like
so I just started stand-up a month ago at Madden's. So that was my first gig. Do you co-run Army Comedy Club?
So Sean started it, and when we used to run the podcast, we sort of marketed it as like a spin-off of the podcast.
Right, okay.
But then after sort of the podcast finished, Sean was like, well, it's his creation. He was like, you'll always have a spot, and we'll take turns emceeing it, and like we'll like basically if you MC it, you'll get a bit of cash, and we'll help run it together and stuff. So as long as like there's a spot each week, I'm so grateful for that. Like so, and then while he's been away, because he's still traveling, I'm happy to run it for him and stuff. Yeah. So I mean, both times I've seen you, you've been great. Like really,
the first day I did that, I've never been so nervous in my entire life about anything. I don't think. In fact, same as you, I nearly like cancelled it like multiple times throughout the day. Well, not that you have a spot, but like I had in my head.
I suppose it's harder because you have to
turning
go down to man's and actually sit and wait.
It's the waiting kills you. I can't remember. I think who was it? I said to Aaron at the Pav on Monday. I was like, this is like purgatory. It's like you're sitting like the gig hasn't started, or no, like it's the gig's just about to start, but you're not on for a while. But like you can't really take yourself out of the.
But if you're
frame of mind, because you will be on soon enough, so you're like sitting in this wee like.
It's like waiting to go over the top in World War One. I think it's like
yeah,
it's
you're literally sitting there like
I compare it to like
now, yeah.
And it is like it's part of you. There's times where I'm like about to go on stage. I'm like, I don't have to do this. Like no one is going to make me do this. Like if I pull out of this, what's going to happen? Like and in your head, you. But then like nerves are good. If you're not nervous, then like there's gigs where I've been calm for, and then I'm like, and then I basically have had a really terrible time.
Yeah. I was nervous the whole day. I don't know what was. I don't know how you deal with nerves, but nervous the whole day, and then I was sitting down. Pete Giffen was MCing, and I was sitting down, and then right as he called me up, it all went away. Like right before, and then the second time I was at Madden's, fine the whole day, and then I was standing by the door like right before he called me up, and then it all just like hit me like a truck at once. I was like, why am I doing this? And then I was literally walking onto the mic being like, this is ridiculous. Why am I here?
But the main thing, like, and I don't want to talk like, because I've only been doing it for years and I'm still basically.
Yeah.
But like the main thing is that, you learn that like if you have a bad one, in my head I was like, if I have a bad one in front of a bigger act, like if I have a bad one in front of these guys, I'm like, I'll be talked, and they'll be like. They'll be, see him, don't book him, shit. But no one cares. No one's like that. They're too busy focusing on their own set.
I walked into the Pav on Monday, and William was on before me.
Yeah.
So like there was a break in between, but like I looked at the board and I was like, oh my goodness gracious, because I was like my third gig, and I was like, William Thompson's on before me. I have to like follow that. I said that. I sat down and I was like, you alright? I was like, yeah, like I'm good. And I was standing there going, oh no, this is not good. I was like these guys. He's gonna be all right before me, and I'm straight up after break. Then he left, so
yeah, no, it's
all good. I was like, sweet, and it went okay. So
I think like people don't realize that like as soon as the gig is like as soon as William was doing new stuff, he'd be focused on his own stuff.
That's
and
it.
trying to
No
focus
one's
on his
like-
own. Like no one's gonna be there going, see Daniel, like, and like they'll be like,
Awful.
they're not gonna be putting into a group check on there's this new comic called Dan. Like that's what you need to realize. No one's gonna, and like you're meant to like I'm
everybody's very encouraging.
Yeah, and like I'm only 3 years in, and I say I'm still shit, and I'm not like I'm just still finding like a rhythm and trying to find myself and stuff. So people realize like they're like, oh, you're still new to this. You're still gonna have really sort of power ones and stuff. It isn't like even like Madden's on Tuesday. I MC'd and I had a decent second half, but I was really slow. It was my first MCing since getting back, so I was really sluggish the first bit. And even then, Sean Hegarty, William, and Jordan Robinson were all there, and I was like. And they all left at the break, and I had a good second half, and I was like, I've had a stinker in front when they're watching, but I'm like, they all done new material. They're probably all away to focus on the new material, and then if they are texting, and then if you're in your head going, oh, they texting about like, then it's just your anxiety.
You'll just wear yourself down doing that anyway. Like William, I think he got off the plane that day.
Yeah, and done. Yeah,
and like, all his stuff was about his trip, so I was like, that's like wow, fair enough, because it was like no one's heard that before. That was just 5 minutes of like
fresh straight off
the cut. No, I've had great fun doing it so far. Like it's the feeling you get walking off the stage.
Oh, it's incredible.
It's literally insane.
Like me and James McKegney last night after Pugs went to the Sunflower and had a good few pints actually, and we were kind of talking about like nothing else in the world. Obviously, I like neither of us are doing it full time, but like we're saying, if you looked at it like no other job in the world, would you get to do something as cool and come off stage and feel as buzzed on dopamine, and like it's literally just an instant dopamine release, and like for me personally, someone who struggled with like really bad anxiety, slightly I would get depressed quite a lot, and then I like not so much now, and like really bad OCD. Stand up has been like a lifesaver for like just learning to. It took my mind away from all that and was like, focus on this, focus on your writing, focus on getting better. And like it is annoying when you haven't got a new bit in a while, and you're like, right, where am I going with here and stuff, and like, or like there were stories I heard on holiday, and I was like, that'll be a bit, and it just needs a bit of tweaking and stuff, but in your head, like, why, and you get frustrated, you're like, why isn't this? But that's it, and you get better and better, and you enjoy it, and you enjoy the graft of it and stuff.
Yeah, like it's great. Like I built it up for months before I did Madden's. Then I did it. It was weird because like I think I was 10th out of like 13 people or something.
That's hard as well. Like.
And sat down after. Like the crowd were like warmed up and stuff. It was good, but sat down after and was like trying to be respectful to like obviously the other people by not like getting the phone out straight out and being like, yeah, I've done this. I'm just sort of sitting there. Like,
I mean, there's a guy who comes to
bottled up.
Madden's and he's there every week, and he sits in the front row and plays 8-ball pool until it's time to go on. Like, so, so like, yeah. Don't worry about taking your phone out if you want to. Yeah.
And then I was sitting and you're watching like the other acts going like, I can't believe I've just like done that. Like, I don't know how you felt after like your first actual time getting off stage. You're just like,
because it was the competition and I won. I kind of just. The gig went well, and I was like, that's all I can ask for. Like, I'm so happy with that. And then William was hosting it. It was like, in the winners, Ciaran Franco, and I was like, what the f? And because my mum and dad were like, you want to do stand up, what? And it's like telling your mum and dad you want to be a porn star or something. Like, it's so like shameful. And then I want to tell jokes for a living. And then I came home and I was like, I couldn't sleep. I was working in a school at the time, and I just like. It'd be my brother's 21st the weekend before, so there were a load of beers in the fridge, and I just chinned like 6 of them. And I just sat up to 2 in the morning just chinning these beers, and then went into work the next day and was like, none of these guys know that I just won the Pavilion Newcomer Award. And then in my head I was like, this is all I want to do. And then I left working in a school and went to the civil service, and 2 weeks in the civil service I was like, this, like, I need to do stand up and make it the main focus of my life, so I never have to do a job like this. So then I went back to the school, which was an incredible place to work because it was very relaxed atmosphere.
You still there?
I'm hopefully going to get back in September. I'm just sort of between jobs at the minute because I went travelling and left mid.
So
but I'm like, I'd love to. It was very relaxed. You get great holidays. And you're out every day at 2-3 o'clock, and it's like. I make enough.
Free in the evening to
do stand up. And if you're tired, if you're hanging, I probably shouldn't say hanging, but if you're just basically melted, you get good breaks, you get a good lunch and stuff. And I'm kind of like,
has it got to the stage where like kids have started to notice? Like,
they all follow me on TikTok. I probably shouldn't say that on camera, but they like they would shout bits at me that I've done on stage that I put on TikTok. They would shout that at me in the playground and stuff, and I'm kind of like. But it is what it is. It comes with the territory, like, and I just, as long as they don't shout it in front of the teachers, I'm kind of cool with that. And even still, all the teachers are really sound. It's just a couple.
I think they all know you do it.
Yeah, I'd done a competition in Galway and I won the heat in that, and I had to go, but that was during midterm. Right. So then I had to go back down the week after for the final. So I should have had to reveal to my boss. I was like, listen, I'm doing this stand up comedy competition in Galway. I've got through to the final. Can I go down and do it? And she was like, what? And then they've been so, like, my bosses all came to see me.
Oh, really?
And I just lent into the fact that I worked in the school and done stuff on the school, and then they ended up driving me into town after and stuff, and it was like a real...
Chin another couple of beers.
Yeah. So that was nice. It was a really nice place to work, and real sort of supportive, really good people, and then I'm just, unfortunately, just in between. So the way I look at it is kind of like school starts back in September. It's June 1st. Just give it my all to stand up until.
In terms of like, what's your plans for this summer in terms of gigging? Just
do as many as can. Try and make more sketches. If anyone asks me to do like that's when you said about any pod, any sort of gig, any sketch idea, any offer, just immediately be there for it, because just try and be as creative and get my name out. I've basically, you have 3 months of freedom. Make the most of it, just don't let any day slip by where I'm like, do you watch The Bear? You know that every second counts. Like just look at it like that way, so sort of that idea, and so that's why even like last night me and James had like a couple of pints, but we were both like, cause he's doing another podcast today, and he was like, we were both like, let's call it now and go and do some and go, because and then I'm doing.
You don't have a podcast in a minute though.
No, we stopped doing it in December.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And have you just wrapped that up?
Yeah, it's done. I sort of wanted to sort of focus on we were always sort of seen as a trio,
Yes.
and then in my head I was I don't obviously love the lads, but I'm like we're still great
You
mates.
still want to
But
break out as like a.
yeah, I
One
want to do
One
Robbie
Direction.
Williams.
Yeah,
take that. I want to be my own person.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just sort of want to because we're all very different comedians as well. So I sort of wanted to be sort of established, sort of the brand of not the brand, but like
Ciaran Franco comedy brand.
yeah. I wanted to be seen as Ciaran Franco rather than he's one of the RB podcast
Yes,
guys or he's one of those
definitely.
guys. So I just wanted to. I just sort of. We were talking about where we were going to go with, and I just texted being like, "Listen, this isn't really for me anymore."
Yeah, absolutely.
And you have to sort of do that.
No, definitely. Cause it's weird because obviously I've been gearing up to start stand up for ages, and I think so. I work in a cinema. I can't remember. I think you were going to see Dune or something.
Yeah,
You big Dune guy?
yeah, obsessed.
I'm a big Dune guy.
Yeah.
We follow each other in Letterboxd.
Yeah,
and I'd actually because I knew you were coming on, I was like, let me see what he's rated Dune. 5 stars.
Yeah, it's best so much seen all year.
It's
Challengers was
amazing.
also up there.
I saw Challengers this day last week.
Yeah, Challengers was
it's
definitely
good,
up there.
I actually bought a tennis racket
After, yeah.
Challengers.
Josh O'Connor plays a great scumbag.
Yeah.
I know, yeah, because I like going to cinema by myself, but my mate wanted to go with me to see Dune, so which is like weird because like, I just when I go to the cinema by myself, I'm zoned in,
Yeah.
I'm watching it and I'm enjoying it. Well, if you go with your mate, you're like, is he going to judge me for going to the toilet? Is he going to fuck? Yeah.
I think about this as well. Like, are they enjoying this?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm enjoying
that's-
this.
yeah, yeah.
Like, I hope they're enjoying it as well.
Yeah. Me and James was a kid, and he said that to me yesterday. He was like watching Furiosa, and then he said like the guy he was with was sort of going, oh, some scenes, and you're like, are they not enjoying it?
Yeah, this is great, lads. Stop sighing. Yeah.
Because it's like I went to see Deadpool 2, and I don't like them films, and I just remember my mate was like, that's fucking incredible. We all enjoyed that. And I'm like, are you making the decision for the group? Like, yeah.
You need to focus it in. Yeah, what did I go? I went to see Dune in IMAX, part 2 when it came out, and like I was there day one sitting there. I was in work the next like later that day, and I'd gone for like a 12 o'clock show on at Cineworld. I was locked in because I was like, this is gonna be the greatest film ever, and then it was up there like,
Oh, it's definitely like,
it's so good.
and yeah, because it was kind of like, the first one's good, but it's not.
It's not 2. It's
Yeah,
not the
yeah.
second one.
The second one, I'm like, because then when I was
Let's
traveling,
go.
yeah, I was like just obsessed with Dune still. And like we were on this boat, and I was like jumping off the boat, being like, "Lisan, I'll give," and like, really, like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then even now, before I would go on stage, I want to get up and be like,
yeah. Made that knife chip and shatter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and because I'm like, yeah, like just sending like voice notes to people, being like, "Lisan, yeah." Talal Jamar, have you met him yet? Just
No, but I know who he is.
yeah. One of my like best mates, like, and he always just sends me messages like, "Listen, I'll give." Yeah.
It's so good. It's so good. But I can't remember what I was gonna say. But like, oh yeah, that's what it was. So that's when I like had seen you for the first time because I'd followed you and stuff, and then I was on like the tickets
Yeah.
when you'd come in, and I saw a guy in the queue be like, "Oh, I love your comedy and all," and I was like, he's actually getting like popped over there by some guy, and then I was walking up going like, I'm gonna ask this guy to come on the podcast soon, so I need to like
Yeah.
lock in, make a good impression. And I think I said that I was like, getting popped over there, are you? Screen 6.
No, I was like, a load of guys came up and were like, you're the wee man, you were on, I think it was because I'd done Colin's podcast, or the before Lavery's. Yeah, in the green room one. And then it was like, because that green room one kind of got me a bit, like, just people sort of went, who'd watched the Colin's green room podcast, then a few people have said, oh, we've seen you on that.
Yeah.
And I'm really not used to it.
Yeah.
Like people saying, like, I've seen you do your comedy.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
kind of go, "What?"
Yeah.
and run away. And then those guys there, because I was in the queue to get popcorn, I couldn't really run
Yeah.
away. And I was like, oh, cake.
Sprint to the screen.
Yeah. It's like even like last week, someone came up to me in my local and was chatting to me about it. And I was kind of like, I just kind of want to have a pint with my mate here. Like,
Yeah.
and I didn't want to be like, I was really grateful that they were really lovely and stuff, but I was kind of, they were like, what's the plans for the future and all? And I was like, where the this is quite intense. I'm like, it's a Saturday night, like, yeah. So that's, yeah. It's actually sort of like, it mainly happens sort of in like, because I'm North Belfast and I go out sort of in Lansdowne or this place like that there. I normally like people who I know from back in the day that are like, oh, well, what's crack? See, you're doing the stand up and stuff. And then sometimes I'm like, oh, yeah. And I run out of stuff that, like, Christmas Eve was like, everyone was in the Lansdowne drinking. And I was kind of like, how are you? Let's go on.
Yeah. I've never been, well, I just get people shouting podcast at me.
Yeah, there's some of the students that walk up and go, podcast to me and
Yeah.
poke me. And I was like, right, cheers.
Yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
get your hand off me.
Yeah.
I get podcast because people don't know my name. They're just like, oh, Dolecast podcast.
Yeah.
Or like, yeah, I'm doing that. I'm not doing it. Podcast or Dolecast. Someone shared it. Yeah.
Nice.
He's like, oh, cheers, guys. Thanks.
Yeah. It's like like I remember like when I first started, someone went like another. I'm not sure if he's quit or not, but he went. We just started and he'd done a couple of gigs and I got to open for Johnny in Limelight, and then me and this other guy went over to Pug Uglies for a beer and he went, "Do you get much pussy doing stand up?" And I went, "What? What the f*** are you talking about?"
Yeah.
He was like as if I'm gonna be I'm coming off stage at the pavilion, they're ripping the clothes off me. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
And he was oh no, like are you getting like much pussy doing stand up? And I'm like, lad, where the f*** you think I'm playing? Like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I get up and talk about how I can't look people in the eyes, and like that's not exactly a you know.
Let's go, girls.
Yeah. That doesn't send all the people to battle stations down there. Like, it's like, and
Yeah.
that's kind of like, this guy's a bit weird, and like, yeah, I was kind of like, where the f*** do you think, like, and he was like, oh no, I just thought like because you do like stand up, and like I went, you do stand up as well, like I don't like.
This is another comedian.
Yeah, I was like, do you get much? Yeah, and then I was like,
Maybe he does, and he's like trying to figure out how
He
to-
doesn't.
Have you ever like lost the run of yourself at a gig in terms of like going over your time, or like to the point you're like? Because I remember it might have been the first time I was doing Madden's. I heard Luke McGibbon talking to someone. He was like, it was some guy he'd booked for 5 minutes or something.
And he
He
went
had like 17 or something like
and
that.
they had to turn the lights off, turn the mic off, and play music, and he still wouldn't take a fucking hint. Yeah, that was me. No, no. I done it once, and I got a telling off, and
Okay.
it was a telling off by like one of my like Darren Matthews, one of the absolute legends, like a guy great for advice. If you're looking to run a gig, speak to Darren.
Yeah.
He's the Mr. Miyagi of running gigs,
Right, okay.
and just great advice. And we were booked to do a gig in Armagh somewhere, and it was St. Patrick's Day, and Darren was kind of like, it's my St. Patrick's Day as well, lads, let's just do 10 minutes, and then there's the headliner to go, and Dave was opening, so Dave done 15, so it was like a stacked enough day.
Yeah.
And then I got on stage and I went, I'll do an extra 5 minutes here, and I'd done it, and I came off, and Darren just sort of said to me, stick to your time, like, and then he didn't even do it, and then he just sort of said it in a stern way where I went, and I
Okay,
went,
yeah. Sorry.
if it was someone that, yeah.
Yeah.
To the point where like the next day I sort of said to Jordy Robinson, I was like, I went up 5 minutes over, and Jordy was like, don't worry about it, like, but it was like in my head I went,
No, I'm worrying about it.
Yeah. So it was definitely something I needed to hear, where someone just goes, what are you doing?
Yeah, just
Stick to
do
your time.
what you're meant to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do what you're for. Yeah. Yeah. I don't. When I was practicing, I was like, I don't know how you practiced or whatever, but I would. How do you write your stuff? Because I would do like mind maps.
See, I
And then I left a notebook in Madden's, and Daniel Quinn had to get it for me. But
did. Shout out Daniel Quinn, one of the good guys.
He's great.
I write sort of in a notebook,
Yeah.
and then I type it out, and then I sort of try to find words that I can lose, like the really stuff like that. There, it was really good. What can I replace for really good? A funnier word.
That's a good idea.
And then once I get that, I then start writing it out in a book so I remember it, and then I start practicing it, and then I'll do it in Madden's, I'll do it in sort of Pav, I'll do it in Chicken Box and Dairy, I'll do it, and then I record every set by putting my phone in my pocket, and then
Right,
I
okay.
listen back, and then whatever doesn't work, I try and cut the line
Yeah.
so that the bit is as tight as possible.
Yeah.
So I have a bit that I did the minute about just getting a skybox put in when I was younger,
Okay.
and like that was really long at the start, and I managed to just keep cutting it. Or I had a bit about dating a conspiracy first, and in my head I went, this bit has got like 5 minutes in it, and it's now down to like 30 seconds. But it's like it's just that sort of editing thing.
Yeah.
And like even I'm doing a bit now like sort of about like I due to OCD I was really, really paranoid about losing my hair. It was something that I don't know why, but due to just being in lockdown, and you pull a wee hair out, and I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I'm losing it. So I rang the doctors, but because it was like COVID, you had to do the doctor's appointment over the phone. So I was
Right,
like,
okay.
I'm losing my hair, and it's making me depressed. And obviously they couldn't see me
Yeah,
over
yeah.
the phone, so they were like, right, well, we're going to send you medication. So I was taking medication that someone that like who's actually going bald is meant to take.
Yeah.
So the side effects of that were that my body started to get really hairy as well,
Right, okay.
and I looked like a boiled sweet that fell in a rug, like.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to do a bit on that now, that like I have to shave sort of like you like my mates on holiday were taking turns shaving like logos into my back and being like, guess the logo. So they were like shaving a McDonald's logo on my back, and then they were doing like a Nike tick on my chest and stuff, and it was like just like a big game of like charades using my chest there. And it was like mental that like they were able to do that. Like I don't shave for one day and I look like Charles Manson, and it's like just something that I'm like trying to work that into a bit. Like
definitely. But you were on your travels recently. When did you go to Vietnam? Like a month ago?
So I went to flew to Thailand and then done Cambodia and then done to Vietnam and then flew home. It's cheap, but also I went out.
Cheap,
I went out with enough money to do me 3 months and a wee bit more.
Yeah.
And in my head, the wee bit more was loads more, and just blasted through it in the first week in Thailand, and then went, what the fuck am I doing? Like,
right, okay.
And then like I was tipping everyone with like, keep a change from like, and then going to like Sky bars, like which are like, and a beer and a Sky bar is $5.50 back home price, which is cheap for back home, but like in my head, but really expensive for Thailand prices. But because I was thinking, I'm back home prices, that's normal.
Yeah.
I was drinking in Sky bars, living sort of, and then I sort of went, got yourself on. What are you doing? Like,
and so you went to Thailand. Where else?
Cambodia, and then so we bussed it all the way up to Hanoi. The whole trip was like bus, made it to the top of Vietnam, then flew home, and then Vietnam was by far the best. Although there's a place in Cambodia called Kampot, which is like a place on the river. Right. And my mate was like, I don't want to go here. Like, it's just a hostel on the river. Yeah. It was a hostel on the river where we just drank on this river for 2 days, and it was incredible. And my mate's like, that was the worst part of his trip because he's really into culture, and I went, that was the best part of my trip. Yeah.
Sights good.
Oh yeah, they were alright. Like, but the beer was incredible. The beer and the food and the parties were definitely sort of. I like the history and all, but it was good to just sort of let loose for 2 months and get all this sort of swallowing out of my system.
Yeah.
I guess.
Was there any point you were like, oh, dodgy? Or you thought you were gonna get something stroked off you? Hostels, yeah. I
don't know. Like, there's times where like they can't understand your accent at all. Like, I could be telling the guy like I'm in excruciating pain, and he'd still go and smile back. Yeah. And like that stuff would wind me up a bit. Or there was to be fair, I don't have a driver's license, and I was driving a motorbike, which is pretty stupid. And I drove on the wrong side of the road and nearly took me and my mate out. And then, my mate fell off of the bike, and this wasn't me driving, but he just fell off the bike, and he had a concussion. And this Vietnamese woman came up to him and was like, you need to get on my bike so I can take you to hospital. And he was like, well, I just came off one of those, so I don't think that would be advisable. And then she like took him to a hospital. And when he got in the hospital, like, they were like trying to ask him what was wrong with him, and he went, would you just morphine me up the fuck? Like, he was like so concussed that he just didn't know where he was. And so like he was like asking this Vietnamese guy what happened to him, and the Vietnamese guy was like, I don't know you. Like, he goes, you've just arrived at the hospital and stuff. So like that was kind of
bit touch and go.
Yeah. And then I had quite bad food poisoning for a week, and it was kind of like grim. But
how long were you actually out there for?
2 months. So
2 months.
7 weeks. In total, like, so it was like.
By the end, were you ready to come home?
Yeah, the food poisoning week definitely sort of put a dampener on it, because then I was just sat in a hotel room on my phone looking at social media like, I really want to be home. Yeah, be gigging right now. And then like my first gig back was a show. And do you know where St. Malachy's Old Boys is?
Yes.
Yeah, like old place. It was like, I think they'd sold 50 tickets and about 10 people showed up, because you support the club, and then. I got up and
just buy with no intention of
to support the club, and I died for 20 minutes, and I'm kind of like, we're back, and like people in Asia kind of like said I was stand up to.
Was that the gig? Was it like Under a Fire exit door?
Yeah.
Yes, I saw that in Pete Giffin's.
Yeah, that's the first gig back, and I added up like anyone I'd sort of told I'd done stand up to, they were like, oh, what's the biggest you've done, or where do you play, and when I was in Asia, and I was like, I've done a 1,000-seater, I've done Mandela Hall and stuff. They sort of hype it up, and then I just looked like such a fraud then, because on Instagram the week after I got home, and it was a fire door I was playing under. But like those gigs are fun, because then, like I said earlier on, when you know it's gonna be sort of,
it's almost nicer.
Yeah, you're kind of like,
have fun with it. And have a laugh. Yeah.
But and then there's just some gigs that are just nasty, like. But
yeah. Do you have a favorite room in the country?
I'm not gonna say the like Lavery's of the Empire, so like hopefully but Sunflower probably is
Really?
incredible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sunflower on Sunday was just so much fun. And then dailies, both times I've done it have been just like incredibly fun.
Yeah.
And then if you can get the Strabane and do the boiler room, it's
Right. Okay.
incredible.
Yeah, we're thinking of doing a wee live Dolecast on the Sunflower next year.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, next April or March.
You need a guest, sir.
Yeah,
No worries.
absolutely. Well, yeah, so John Devlin
Yeah.
said he'd do it, and I was actually gonna say to you. So yeah, I think I'll do some stand up before it and stuff, and then get a few people doing
Some
spots,
sets,
and then
yeah.
it'd be great.
That's the best way to do it, like get
I'll
them
pack it
warmed
out.
up and then just get blocked and then
Yeah, I can't wait. Like it'd be great. Because like obviously never done anything like that whatsoever. It'd be cool to like run our own night, you know,
Yeah,
as a
100%.
podcast. But yeah, no, everybody's so welcome. So like the first time I did Madden's, Luke McGibbon was opening. I think you were still away at this point.
yeah.
Luke McGibbon was opening, and he was so funny that I was like, oh no, I'm in deep water here. Like,
Yeah.
because it felt like his set, because he was opening, I didn't realize he was going for longer.
Did he stay for your setter?
No, he left during the break. So I was 10th, and Man's is weird in that like I so the first day I did it, I had asked John Devlin, I was like, what time should I turn up for this
Yeah.
to get a spot? And because he's come from like Magrafelt, he's like, oh, like I don't know, like 5:30. So I was like, right, I'll be there for 5. So I was there for like 5. Walked in and said to the guy at the bar, I was like, comedy here for comedy. He's like, don't think anybody's up there. Like, but you can have a look. So I walked up and it was just Daniel Quinn. Like he literally just walked in with like the gear to like help
set up.
I was like, I'm here to sign up, and he was he literally looked at his watch. He was like, you're about an hour early before like anyone gets here.
Yeah.
And I was like, right, okay, yeah. Like he took my name, and I was like, I'll come back. So went back to Costco car park and just sat in my car, like hyping myself up, ready to go. And then John was coming down. He texted me and was like, you here? So then I was sitting outside with him and Ronan Keith.
Yeah.
And like it's just you're sitting there literally for like an hour waiting, like just everybody's like going over their bits and like doing little things. People were like writing stuff in their hands. I didn't have a pen. And I was like, oh no, what am I gonna do here? But then like you get in, and because I was 10th, as soon as it started, I was like, stop thinking about my set and start thinking like just watching the comedy.
Yeah.
Which is so that like Luke McGibbon went up so effortlessly funny that I was like, I could be in trouble here.
That looks incredible. Like looks
So funny. Like
probably like one of my best mates on the scene. Just such a like mentor. Like I was saying to him, he's like Charles Xavier of the scene. Like
yeah.
like he's the guy that like he even looks like Xavier in Days of Future Past.
Yeah,
and like he just brings people in. Look, finds the talent in them. Anyone that is like ever been nasty or sort of like a creep or whatever, like look
they're gone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like he's the guy that like it's such a healthy scene probably because of Luke McGibbon.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
credit to him, like
And
he's
that's the vibe I've certainly got even from like just
Yeah.
listening to people and watching podcasts and stuff. Is that, like any time his name is mentioned, it's like
oh yeah,
he's,
no,
like
like,
he's like the father.
yeah, but he
literally-
is, yeah, and it's like and he's now starting to get the credit he sort of deserves of like of the gigs that he should be doing.
Yeah.
Like he is like gonna think in the next year it'll be the year McGibbon like.
Yeah, McGibbon. Yeah. The leader of the Luke. Yeah, no, Luke is just like he. Oh yeah, right. So I did my set on Monday at the Path, and he was like straight over to me after. Like he was like just so encouraging. Like even right before I went on, he was like, "Good luck." And I was like, "Yeah, it's fine." Like I think that is really
That's what you need, someone to put the
Yes.
arm around you and be like, because I'm sure Dublin's like Dublin's that big a scene that I'd probably just, but like sometimes there's gigs there where you're new and they were kind of like, you ready? And they don't say like, just enjoy it.
Yeah.
There's none of that. It's just like, and like for the big gigs where you're getting paid and you're doing somewhere like Lavery's, you need to be ready. You need to be on your A game.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then like with the Pav looks very much like, just enjoy it. This is what it's here for. It's here to sort of build material.
Yeah.
It's here to, if you put the effort in, he'll reward it. And that's the best thing about him, like, is that if he sees you're writing, if he sees you're writing to a level where you're trying to develop your creative flow and trying to become a better comedian and better yourself, and you're not, say you're developing the material and you're making your sort of act better, but also you're writing new stuff, he will make the effort
Yeah.
to put you on, and that's incredible from him. Like,
that's what it was. I was in the cinema, and another guy I was working with was like, I think he's a comedian up at the top shop there. And I was like, yeah, he was there last night. So I was like, But I didn't get to speak to him after the gig.
Yeah.
I was like, I gotta go speak to him about the Pav. So I kind of walked up behind him. I was like, hello. I think we were on the same gig last night. And he was like, yes, we were. I was like, I said to him about a passport, and he was like, he's so effortlessly funny. He turned to me, he was like, have you messaged Book McGibbon? And I literally started laughing because I was like, Book McGibbon in itself is just such a funny name in general. But yeah, he's so like you say, like just he. I looked at my phone the other day, and he invited me to that Facebook group.
Yeah, that was a massive help. Yeah,
yeah, and I was like, respect, because I didn't know that existed even or whatever, and he was like firing me in there. I was like, fair enough. Like it's just
it's how you get like spot. To be fair, like there was a while where everyone was just posting on any spots going.
Yeah,
and I think the one thing I would tell you is just, and it's definitely helped me. Like last night, I went down to Pugs just to watch, and Dave was like, "Do you want to do 5?" And I was like, "That's so awful." Like that, if you just go down to watch and like massive shout out to Dave, because that was like I sort of haven't felt myself since starting back, like after traveling, or not myself, but like felt really rusty, and shout out to Dave because
on the groove that you're
that was a gig to get my sort of confidence back. I think so.
Yeah, definitely. In terms of like, solo show or something like that, anything. I don't sound like a person in the bar, but you know.
Oh no, I'd done a solo show last year, and it was a massive regret.
Was that in the Black Box?
No, it was in Ulster Sports Club.
Right, okay.
But I in my head, I was like, right, you've been doing stand up a year, you need to do a solo show. And I was like, I need to do a solo show this year. I want to do like, and I'd done it, and I came away from it like wanting to headbutt a wall, like being like,
right, okay.
Like you didn't need to do that. That was all for some sort of like clout to be like, oh, I've done it. And I really like, I remember like speaking to Shane, and he asked me what my plans are, and I said like that's a massive regret of mine doing like a solo show so quickly. The show's ready when the show's ready, like, and instead of just trying to be like, oh,
you know,
I don't, so bang, and I think it done like 53 minutes, and I was like, what the f***? And I got it recorded, and shout out my friend Saul, who
he runs No Joke.
Yeah. He got a film for me, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, I can't release this, like, I just can't release it. And he's always like in my head, I was like, oh, put it out, and I'm watching it, I'm like, this is shit.
Yeah. And
then I'm like, I'm just like watching it, being like, this is like, I actually cringe and like feel a bit ill watching it at times.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so I said I'm gonna just do stand up and do the gigs and enjoy it, and maybe next year try and do a fringe show, but at the minute just enjoy it, and just when I feel like I've got an hour of material that's all bam 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 bam, then I'll do it. But at the minute I'm just like, I can't.
That's no, definitely. You also started your sketch.
Yeah.
So
me and Jazz would be good mates, and me and her were sort of talking about like, we both sort of like sketches. The podcast had wrapped up, and I was like, I want to sort of do something that can show me off more.
Yeah. And
then me and her were sort of chatting, and we were like, let's do some sketches and stuff. So we should have more of them out soon. We're just waiting on sort of edited and stuff, and then hopefully gets another one out on Monday.
Yeah.
Because I think that's sort of more. I always liked doing the podcast and stuff, but it was just sort of.
It's literally a medium, just like, here's funny stuff. Like, you don't need to do an hour podcast to like get.
Yeah, that's it.
There you go.
And like the podcast was sort of like the three of us were we were all doing it together, and then you're like, right, who's going to be the funniest this week? And then in my head, I'm like, I don't want to do that. I want, well, if it's your own podcast and you have a guest on, you're like, when there's three of you, so you're kind of like, right, who's going to be the guy that everyone loves this week?
Up with it. Yeah.
And then I was just like, you know what, I'd rather just make myself like the.
Yeah, it's just writing stuff around it, and as opposed to like trying to like sniff it out.
So that's the idea I went sort of for, and then just me and Jazz got on really well, and we were like, we should do this sketch thing, and then we shot them over midterm, but then there's just been a problem with getting them edited and stuff. So that's the only thing that the idea would be that I would go on holiday for 7 weeks, and we shot 7 sketches, and they'd be released one a week. But it hasn't happened, which has been quite frustrating. But it is what it is.
Yeah. Would you ever start your own podcast?
Maybe in a couple of years with a bigger following. Like, I really, really like history, and I'd like to maybe do something around that. Yeah. But I'm not sure what to do with it yet.
Yeah.
I had ideas, and then I was like, fuck, I'll work on sketches this year, and then I'll work on being a better comedian, and then I'll do a podcast. Because sometimes I feel like I was 9 months into stand-up and went, right, what's the next thing I need to do? Let's do a podcast. And I'm like, you didn't need to do that. Like
I saw Andrew Ryan had been on a podcast, and had said something good. It was like about lots of comedians today are like, oh, I've got my podcast and I've got this. It's like put stand up probably it's the focus.
Yeah, so, like that's what the problem that I had at the start, and probably looked like an asshole for doing it. Like I was just like, I want to be this, I want to be this, I want to be this, and the way to do it is I went for the look rather than the material, and like that's the biggest regret. And now I'm trying to strip that back and just be a stand up and focus on the bread and butter rather than some sort of guy who's all over social media, and when you actually see him live, you're like, he's a bit.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I suppose like with me in terms of like, because I've been doing the podcast since I was like 15 maybe, so I was like trying to, I obviously couldn't do stand up then, so I was like, well, I'll do a podcast and try and like build that up.
But it's helpful that way, like,
and
it helps with like learning to slow down. You're talking, learning to enunciate more, but it's I just in my head I was like, I've got this pod, and like I think just part of me was like it kind of like wanting to get out of sort of the cheesiness of the trio and stuff, and then I just wanted to be like sort of, because we're great mates and stuff, but I definitely just sort of wanted to be like, right, I want Ciaran Franco to be like his own guy, like
you don't want to be like not always having to be like mentioned in the same sentence as the others.
Yeah, because even like people are like, oh, well, we'll book the, like if I get booked, they're like, well, we'll book the other lads as well, and I'm like, and myself, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think you knew Pete couldn't do this today.
Yeah.
Cause I just remember I'd said to you, and then like, he's waiting that under
the
desk
he's
or
gonna
something. But no, like, and even like, Pete's doing the Limelight.
Yeah.
That's class.
Yeah, it's massive, great. Like, yeah.
But yeah, no, that's definitely, I can see what you mean there. But like, I think I'm just so thankful that like it's gone okay so far.
Oh yeah, and like, I mean, you're 19, you got it all ahead of you, like.
Yeah.
I know I sound like I'm only 26, but like.
No, what you mean.
Oh yeah, listen to me, kid. But yeah, no, and it's just keep showing up the spots, keep going to places to watch. Go down to Lavery's and just watch maybe 6 weeks in a row stand up, and you'll learn.
What was your first Lavery's like?
The first time I performed?
Yeah, at Lavery's.
I was so nervous that I sped for my set, and it wasn't great. And then the night after, thankfully I
got on both nights?
Yeah, thankfully I got booked for both, and the second one was great, and it was like not great, but it was good, and I was like happy with that. And in the week, and then I messaged Colin the month after, and he was like, I managed to get on the month after, and the wedding for both nights again, and the Wednesday was really good, and the Thursday I had shit.
Right, okay.
And I was like, oh fuck, and then I'm doing it again this week, and I'm like,
right, okay.
I done both nights in February, and I feel like I came up short. Like I didn't give in. I got booked for a bigger slot. I got booked for 15 rather than 10, and I think I give a per account to myself. Probably nerves, sped through stuff, kind of frigid on stage, and that's why I'm really hoping that I've just given it my all this week.
Yeah, no, definitely, it'd be great. Because Lavery's is like it's a great club. Like,
oh, it's the club, like
it is the place to be, you know.
Yeah.
And like even like Butler and Shane and all doing like shows in there. Like it's a nice room to just do like.
Oh, it's incredible.
Like a show in general. It's great. Yeah. Yeah. It's nice. It's nice being able to finally start it and like get talk. This is the first like comedian guest. Well, John was on a couple weeks ago, but like, you're the first comedian guest we've had on since Butler last year.
Oh, sick.
Did a load during COVID, but on Zoom and stuff.
Yeah.
So then they all just like dropped off because I was like 16, so people weren't really as keen to.
Yeah,
meet up for a podcast. Fair enough. But yeah, no, like it's good fun. It's good. It's I'm loving it.
Yeah, and like I mean, again, like biggest regret I did was not starting it earlier. But like if you started at the right time, you'll probably get. Like even if like I remember someone went, oh, well, you started at the right time because you've more life experiences, but also at the same time, you'll get every skill you need that you'll get. Slowing down, you'll get performing, you'll get stage presence, you'll get all of that there, and then all the life experiences you'll be able to put them into stories and stuff. So
it's weird. I was there for dinner last night with my girlfriend's family, and they didn't know I'd started. She obviously did, but they didn't. And we were at Slim Chickens in Belfast.
Is that place that always smells when you walk past it?
It's beside Five Guys.
Yeah, what the f*** is the smell in there?
Yeah, there's loads of sauces.
Is that what it like? It's like it's such
nice
a weird
chicken.
smell.
It's nice chicken, to be fair. And they were going to see Michael McIntyre, And like as a joke, her sister was like, "Oh, as a comedian yourself, how do you rate Michael McIntyre?" And her dad was like, "What's this?" And I was like, "Oh no,
Yeah.
I've been dropped in it." And he was like, "I'll be the next gig." I was like, "Oh no, I'll not be telling you when that is."
Yeah. You do a stage name like me.
Is yours a stage name?
It's my middle name. So
Mad.
because I didn't want to get noticed by the kids in school, and then I lasted about 30 seconds, and they'd all find
Seriously?
me. Yeah.
I had no idea. Not that I would like.
And then I was kind of like, Franco, that's a good name. And then James Franco came out as a pedo, and I went to perform in Barcelona, and I went, oh, there's a guy done some stuff in Spain called Franco that isn't too fondly.
Okay.
Looked up like he was a dictator in Spain, called Franco, and he bombed the out of Barcelona.
Right.
And I'm like, Jesus.
Turned up for a comedy night.
Yeah. I'm like, I was like,
Quick
bring me
fire.
on by my other name. Yeah.
So that's so weird. But yeah, thank you very much for coming on.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.
Maybe see you at the Dolecast live.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you very much. I'll see you at your next gig, sir.
Yes. Thanks very much. Guys, we'll be back. I think this is 98. 98 and 99. So close to that 100. We'll be back next week. Keep listening to What's Yappenin if it's still out, or if we've recorded it. And thanks very much to Queen's Radio for letting us use this a nice room today. And thank you very much, Ciaran, for coming on.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
See you later. And Ben for producing. Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Goodbye.